Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. I'm a little bit intoxicated today, apologies in advance, because it is not only election day, February the 23rd, it is also Carnival right now in Germany. And my duties to my local community or they also entail being a part of the annual Carnival festivities here in my little Bavarian hometown. I'm not a big carnival person myself, and I think most people, even those who are, you can really only survive that being drunk. Carnival is made for drunk people. It is not made for sober people, so apologies. Anyway, I wanted to give you a little heads up, a little update about the latest polls and what is going on today in Germany. And in the end, maybe I have time for some short anecdotes about what happened at the Carnival party yesterday, and it has also to do with the election, obviously. I won't go off topic. All right, so let's look at the latest polls, the last ones before election day, actually. They are from yesterday. You see that the AfD is still stable above 20%, like they have been for a long time now. That means, that is a doubling of their result from last election. The center cucks are falling below 30% now, and the star of the last weeks are, of course, the Communist Party, Die Linke. They were surging up from below our 5% threshold for entry into the Reichstag to a relatively whopping 7%. They achieved that by being omnipresent on television and engaging in a rather, dirty rhetoric towards especially the AfD and also the other parties. Their head, Van Aken, he uses very foul language, and apparently with these welfare-receiving unwashed commies, this sits very well. So he achieved great mobilization here. The offshoot of the communist former SED, Socialist Unity Party of the GDR, of former communist Eastern Germany, the Bündnis Sarah Wagenknecht, fell now below the 5% threshold again, because they are a tool of the establishment that was only required to prevent the AfD from gaining power in the central German states that had local state elections in autumn of last year. That was their sole purpose. Now they performed their duty and they're no longer needed, so they can be discarded now. We also see that the class of bureaucratic technocrats and environmentalists, or so they think of themselves at least, the voters of the Green Party, mostly public servants, teachers, part of the bureaucracy, they are not directly affected by the decline of the German industry. Their jobs are safe, their pensions are safe, and the state is growing. We need Chainsaw Man dearly here in Germany, I can tell you. But as long as they're not affected themselves, they keep voting for the Green Party, even though everything around them is crumbling. The biggest loser is the party of Chancellor Olaf Scholz, the Social Democrat Party, Labour-like SPD. And they dropped 10% compared to the last elections. Almost what the AfD gained, as you can see here. And now it becomes interesting, because you see there are a lot of smaller parties around this 5% threshold that you need for entering the Bundestag as a faction. And in total, these are a lot of votes. So that means if a party has 4.9% of the relative votes, that means that they won't be in parliament at all. There is a little technicality there. If you win some direct seats in your district, that might change. But let's assume now this isn't the case. Then that means all these 4.9% of the votes are discarded. And that means that the seats will be distributed among the other parties according to their share of the vote. Now, if that were to happen, so that means if the FDP, the so-called or self-styled Liberal Party, and the Bündnis Sarah Wagenknecht, BSW, if they don't make it, if they stay below 5%, that means that the cucks of Mr. Merz, they can have a two-party coalition either with the Social Democrats or the Green Party. And this is what he said he would would like, even though they're burning bridges right now with the Green Party, because they're really, at least for German standards, engaging in quite aggressive rhetoric towards the Green Party. But now let's assume, just for argument's sake, a miracle happens, which was often the case for the FDP, I have to say, and they miraculously, just on election day, perform significantly better than in all the polls before. And they are at 5.5%, let's say. The margin of error is definitely 2 or 2.5% in all these polls, more or less. So that is very well possible. This is just an average value that you see. The margin of error is huge relatively for these smaller parties, especially. Now, in that case, a two-party coalition is no longer mathematically possible. You see here, both with the SPD and the Green Party, it doesn't work. Only a coalition between the CDU-CSU and the AfD would be possible as a stable two-party coalition. That won't happen, of course. Mr. Merz is a true cuck. He said many, many times that he will never do that. And that means he needs a three-party coalition. So that means he needs to bring together parties that hate each other. Remember how I reported that the FDP was kicked out of the coalition with the SPD and the Green Party, and they said they will never work together again, and there is no trust anymore between them, and this will be quite interesting. So it has to be the Communist Party then. So that means Mr. Merz needs to seek a coalition with the Communist Unity Party of East Germany. Crazy. And I can tell you, a coalition like that, a three-party coalition under a Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, will be more problematic and more stressful for them as the current traffic light Ampel coalition has ever been, for Mr. Scholz in that case. So this is why Frau Weidel of the AfD already said a Merz coalition will be even shorter-lived than the current Ampel coalition. And she was smiling, I guess, when she said that, because she knows if the CDU goes together with the Green Party, then the AfD will gain 5-10% over the next year. They will be much stronger in the next elections, because the people see then, no matter what we vote for, because of this firewall, this cordon sanitaire, no matter what we vote for, in the end, we always get red-green commies in power. And this is what people, also the voters of the CDU-CSU, what they don't want. But if they deliver Green Party politics when they vote black, well, then they will vote blue next time, I'm sure. At least many of them, and the ones that are too senile or get vote harvested in retirement and nursing homes, well, maybe they won't be there anymore. And I don't mean to be cynical, but that's just the way it is. The electorate there is very, very old, and they don't know what's going on anymore, and they're influenced by their handlers and their caretakers who are raging lefties, and that is why time is pretty much on our side. The AfD scores strongest amongst younger voters, and that gives me hope for the future. All right, so this is my technical analysis for today. Now, time for some little drunk rants here at the end. So I was on this Carnival event yesterday, and there are these people that are head of these carnival clubs, and they're very, very connected. They're also in political parties, they're in the sports club, they're in the firefighters, in the church choir, and they're also in the carnival club. And yeah, if you want to be mayor of a small town, you must be at least an active member of 10 different clubs. It basically becomes your life, otherwise no chance, more or less. So anyway, this guy was using his function as the head or a leader of the carnival club to remind everyone on a carnival party to go vote tomorrow. And he added, so that the AfD doesn't win. Now, I told him later in private, of course I go vote tomorrow, don't worry. And he was really reassured then, and he smiled at me. Little did he know that, of course, I would vote for the AfD. In my small town, you see, I cannot be really open about it, because, yeah, they are conservative, but they also think that the AfD is the devil, and that Germany is really going downhill if the AfD gets in power. But this just tells me that they're out of touch, because Germany is going downhill, because the AfD is not in power, because of the CDU, because of the SPD, because of the Green Party, the FDP, all of them. They opened the borders, they discontinued nuclear power, they abolished our draft. They opened the gates, and they made the energy prices go up through the roof. They are harassing German citizens with ever growing bureaucracy, hiring and promoting more and more civil servants. It is out of control. As I said, we also need Chainsaw Man. The costs are going through the roof. We need to radically downsize our government, our bureaucracy, and we need it yesterday. I believe that Europe can only survive with a strong heart, and the heart of Europe is Germany. And the AfD, and I agree there with the current or the new US administration, the AfD is the only political power that can save Germany, and by extension can save the European people. This is why I did my little part today, and I hope everyone who is eligible to vote in Germany does that also today. Anybody who is having an interest in the survival of European people. In that sense, nur die AfD. I hope you have a wonderful day. Servus, Kameraden.